Story time, story time, story time. I love a good story time, and I think today is gonna be a good one. Sorry I keep changing where I'm filming, by the way. I can't get the lighting right in my room, and until I have that money honey to buy a ring light, it just ain't happening. So, as I mentioned in my last storytime video, which I hope that you saw because I thought it was pretty good even though it was long. P.S. I know that I made a fake storytime video saying, how can storytimes be 25 minutes long? And then I made a storytime that was 25 minutes long. The irony is not lost on me. But like none of it was fluff. All of it was important. But anyway, this one is gonna be much shorter, I think, but still good. I gotta get back on track. What was I saying? So in the last story time, I told you that there was a vote on my Instagram and Twitter over what story you wanted to hear. That last one won, about my sketchiest job ever, but in second place came, as you can tell by the title, the time that my teacher knocked out a girl in our class. There's also a very good chance in the future that I'm going to be taking more polls on what types of videos I should upload, so if you want to be a part of that, if you want to get to vote and sort of decide the content of this channel, then be sure to follow my Instagram and Twitter to see those polls. It is so hot in here. So, for the sake of the teacher's privacy, in this story, I will obviously not be referring to him by name. We're gonna call him Mr. Daniels. And there's very likely people watching this video who know who this teacher is, and so I just request, let's keep the name under wraps. Yeah, let's play with me. So I was in 8th grade, I think. It might have been 7th, but I'm pretty sure it was 8th. I was in middle school and I was taking theater, and Mr. Daniels was the theater teacher. He was a young guy, new to the school. He was very funny, so we got on, and he was a little bit of a jokester, a little bit of a prankster. For instance, there was another girl in the class, we'll call her Jenny for all intents and purposes, who was, I think, a 7th grader or something, whatever, she was in the class. And her and Mr. Daniels had sort of staged this prank where she ran into like one of the wooden cabinets that we had, standing wooden cabinets. And I want to say, this one's a little fuzzy in my mind, but I want to say like he had given her like a blood packet or something to like whatever run into and then be all like bloody, just to like shock us, just to scare us. So there was a history of this sort of thing. This is gonna be important. So, oh my god, I love this story. I'm so excited to tell this. Sorry, okay. So one week we were learning stage combat, which Mr. Daniels was the teacher, so he was demonstrating everything, of course. And his first rule, the number one rule of safety for stage combat, when we were doing hits specifically, was that when you swing for a hit, whatever kind of hit, you should, and let's say this is the other person, even if they weren't to move their head, you should be far enough away for safety where even if they didn't move their head, they would not get hit. His number one rule for safety. And so he requested a volunteer to show these demonstrations, and Jenny went up. Got through the first couple fine. We learned the slap. We learned that it was like, ooh, ah, very cool, looks real, very nice, very wow. And then we got to the uppercut. I'm so excited, I love this story. I think the best part of this story is that it's just dripping with irony. There's so many good little ironic bits in there. So it was time for the uppercut. And Mr. Daniels was like, now sometimes this is referred to as the knockout punch, because a lot of times like it's the finishing move in boxing, because there's some, honestly, I don't freaking remember, there's some nerve here or whatever, where if you hit it right under your chin, there is like a very good chance that you're gonna knock that person out. And we were all like, ooh, ah, knockout. And I'm gonna remind you one more time here that his number one rule for safety was if you were to swing and the person were not to move their head at all, you would still not hit them because you would be far enough away. So Jenny's up there. This girl is tiny too, she's very small. And they do the usual couple like slow-mo runs where they do it very slowly and they make sure to time it all out. And then Mr. Daniels is like, all right, let's do it up to speed. You know where this is going. He goes for it like full force. You hear this, hits her square under the jaw. Her eyes are like this big, and there's a second, and then she literally just like straight as a board, like I'm not joking, she just falls back like that. And then, oh yeah, her head hit the ground, and it was just like this crack, like, oh. It sort of sounded like it was the most pure sound. It was almost like if you threw a brick square at another brick wall. That's the sound it made. And there was a second of just like dead silence, And then all of us started laughing because need I remind you, those two specific people had pulled this shit in the past where they pranked someone getting hurt. And so we were all like, is this another trick? And then you can sort of see all of us realizing that there is no way to make that sound with your skull hitting the floor on purpose. And we saw the look of horror in his eyes. And then she wasn't getting up. And it was suddenly not funny anymore. And we were all just like, what just happened? And she was fine, like the girl lived. Let me spoil that for you right now. But then he immediately was like, okay, I'm gonna have to call 911. Class is dismissed. And it was the last period of the day anyway, and it was towards the end, so we would have been dismissed relatively soon anyway, but obviously we got out early. And one of the worst parts was that it was Mr. Daniel's birthday. And so after making sure that everything was okay, like everyone walked out the door and I was the last one in the classroom, and me being the little shit that I am walked up to his desk, and the conversation went as follows. Happy birthday, Mr. Daniels. Go home, Anna. Okay, I'll just... And the bell rang, and this is how quickly word spread. I went down to the outside, like you had to go down a ramp, it doesn't matter. I walked outside, someone ran up to me and was like, did you hear Mr. Daniels knocked out a girl? And I was like, yeah, I was there. It was 30 seconds ago. Like, who are you? The ambulance came. She was okay. I'm pretty sure there was no lasting damage, but oh boy. So that was when my teacher punched and knocked out a little 7th grade girl. He was honestly a really cool teacher. I have a feeling this might go back to him. If it does, hey, Mr. Daniels, you're good. No, honestly, he was a super cool teacher. He wasn't fired for that. It was obviously an accident, and everyone lived happily ever after. Especially me, because I got a freaking great story out of it. So that's all for this week's video. I hope you're liking these story times. I usually know if y'all like them because you comment and like, and I look at the views that it gets. So if you do like them, if you want to share the story, frickin' share this video, and the more views that it gets, the more likely I am to make more stories that might involve more punching little girls. I shouldn't phrase it like that. Anyways, I'm off. I hope you have a great day, and you know, take care of yourself. Live your life. I'll see you next time. Mwah, bye!